NBA Insider just dropped a bombshell of a trade report, including LeBron James and this Miami Heat organization. I'm here to break down how this speculation is setting the NBA world on fire and how this is really going to work out moving forward, and if Miami really has a chance to go out there and acquire LeBron James, at least at a decent price tag this offseason. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Heat Digest, but first, please do remember, scroll down, click that subscribe button, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed to the channel. We do appreciate all the love and support, so again, thank you guys for everything. But now let's get to it and break down LeBron to Miami speculation picking up. And this is not something I thought I was going to bring you guys a video on this offseason in particular, as LeBron is going into his age 41 season in his last year under contract with this Los Angeles Lakers team. Now, if you guys did miss it, LeBron James opted into his contract in the late stages of June, making him a part of this Los Angeles Lakers team. Now, it was a player option, so he could have opted out and tested the free agency market, or he could have opted in, which he ended up doing, and now he's under contract for one more season with this Los Angeles Lakers team for $52.6 million as a 41-year-old man. Now, LeBron James needs no introduction, and before we get to the news and actual ideas, we all know who LeBron is. We know the illustrious career he has had up to this point, whether it's been in Cleveland in the first stint or in the second, whether it's been in Miami or if it was now in LA. He's LeBron James, and whether he is 18 years old, fresh out of high school, or if he's 41 years old and has been in the league for 20 plus years, you know what you're getting in LeBron James. Injuries have not really played a major factor in his career when he's on the floor, which is 98.5% of the time, at least it feels like. He is the best player on the court. And if he's not, he can be at a flip of the switch. And there's no way around it. But now, is this someone Miami is going to want to go out there and move mountains in hopes to get? Well, it might not take mountains to get LeBron James. And let me explain what I mean. Well, Dan Wilkie, someone we're going to address a few times on this channel, not only for this article that he published on The Athletic, but because of this YouTube video he was also on, which was the Zach Lowe Show. It was on Zach Lowe's YouTube channel. This will be tagged down in the description if you'd like to watch the entirety of it. We are going to focus on the main pieces of the LeBron James conversation that he had with Zach Lowe in the introduction to this YouTube video that is really an hour and 40 minutes long. I can promise you the LeBron James content is in the first 15 to 20 minutes if you are actually wanting and willing to watch that video and understand the entire context from both Zach Lowe and Dan Wilkie. But we're going to start with this article. As it goes on to say, amid plenty of questions, LeBron James sits courtside to watch the Lakers and Bronny James beat New Orleans. If you click on the photo of LeBron, it takes you to an article where he goes on to break down a lot of interesting points surrounding LeBron James this offseason. And one of them that he goes on to point out is the idea that the Lakers want to remain flexible, but they also want to be in a position where they can win now. As we all know, they traded Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks last season in probably the biggest blockbuster trade in the history of the NBA for Luka Doncic. Now, that entire thing basically burnt down social media, and the NBA social media, I should say, because no one saw it coming, and once it happened, everyone thought it was a gimmick, everyone thought it was a joke, and no one actually believed there was a real way that Luka was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers to play alongside LeBron James. But in hindsight, the Los Angeles Lakers made a phenomenal move. They moved an injury-prone player in Anthony Davis who cannot stay on the basketball court for any big moment due to injury, and they went out and got a younger version of LeBron James, a younger European version of LeBron James in Luka. Now, what do the Lakers do going forward? They want to pivot. They want to win now while also remaining flexible, but maintaining LeBron James's contract, which they really didn't have an option to do so, at least up to this point, because he opted in, and it was totally his option, granted a player option. What are they going to do? So, to the article. All the questions about LeBron James' future have come from a statement his agent, Rich Paul, gave after James decided to pick up his contract instead of entering free agency or renegotiating this summer. Quote, LeBron knows the Lakers are building for the future, and he also wants to compete for a championships. Paul told The Athletic after James opted in on June 29th. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We we do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and career. We want to make sure every season he has left counts, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him. We are very appreciative of the partnership we have had for 8 years with Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. Now, Rich Paul didn't say anything crazy or blockbuster in this quote. He was very accurate. He was very blunt in saying it. He didn't beat around the bush. And again, he was accurate in what he said. LeBron has been playing for a long time. It is a bit odd that he did not opt out of this deal and try to renegotiate or, again, test the free agency market. Obviously, if he would have tested free agency, we have no idea how that would have played. It feels like every team outside of possibly the Celtics and maybe even the Nuggets would have been involved in LeBron James, and obviously the Houston Rockets due to the lack of cap room. But it feels like any and all teams would have been at least involved in conversations if LeBron James would have hit free agency, as he deserves it. There's no way that every team shouldn't be lining up to possibly even just interview and have a conversation with LeBron James on what his goals are, what the overall price tag is going to be if they wanted to go out there and acquire him in free agency. But he didn't decide to do that. He decided to opt into that contract, and outside of the free agency market, he didn't even attempt to renegotiate directly with the Los Angeles Lakers, which would open up some more cap room for them going into this season and the seasons following. Yes, I know it's a one-year contract with LeBron James, but still the idea that he's going to be maintaining basically $60 million this up-and-coming year alone is a bit handicapping to the Los Angeles Lakers organization, as they want to continue to add pieces to this team, remain flexible, and be able to be a contender not only this year but going forward. So we move on from the article. The relationships between the league's all-time leading scorer and the franchise set to pay him $52.6 million is in a rocky space. James, still incredibly productive, far beyond any rational plan for a player this deep into his career, will be an unrestricted free agent after this year. Rival scouts and executives have pitched all kinds of scenarios that have James playing somewhere else this up-and-coming season, either via trade or maybe even buyout, a trend that has exploded this summer as teams struggle to build rosters under restrictive salary cap rules. So the idea of LeBron James possibly being bought out this offseason still seems to be a possibility. I'm not going to say it is likely, but right now it seems like a very real possibility, as we have seen it happen an ample amount of times up to this point in the year, and we're not even really halfway through the offseason yet. Damian Lillard bought out. Bradley Beal seems to be getting bought out in the next few days, as again, it hasn't even happened yet, even though it was anticipated to happen last week. There are a lot of names that have been bought out. It seems like those two names in particular are not going to be the only two names, as LeBron James, one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player to ever touch a basketball, seems to possibly might be in that conversation going forward. And it seems like the Miami Heat could possibly benefit from that. So again, that article is written from Dan Wolke, who then went on the Zach Lowe show on YouTube. The article and the YouTube video tagged down in the description if you'd like to read or watch either of these pieces of content. For this actual episode of YouTube, I suggest you guys going and watching the first 20 minutes, as that is where the conversation really starts and takes place amongst the LeBron James conversation. And this is very intriguing because both of these guys are very intelligent minds when it comes to covering the game of basketball. They've been doing it for a long time, and they have a pretty damn good level of intel when it comes to LeBron James and the rest of the organizations behind closed doors, compared to really the rest of the fan bases and all the rest of the journalists, if you will, and what they can gather from social media and pieces of content like this. And Dan Wolke goes on to say that LeBron James in this entire situation is very intriguing, and if whether or not he would do the buyout, and the fact that he didn't renegotiate is interesting, and it seems like it could push the Lakers organization to just not be as comfortable this offseason, if you will, because they are so desperate not only to win and win now, but they want to be flexible, and not only flexible on the basketball court with different versatilities amongst different players and being able to throw up different lineups schematically, and being able to throw up different fronts against different organizations and being able to win situational matchups. But now financially, they're a bit handicapped. And I don't have the exact payroll up in front of me, but I can guarantee you LeBron James is taking up the vast majority of their payroll up for this up-and-coming season in particular. So do the Lakers want to, if they view LeBron James as a handicap to their organization in any way, are they going to look to buy him out? And if they do, is Bronny James going with him? These are major talking points that we're going to have to find out in the coming future. It'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out, but I think LeBron James, as of right now, has a good chance to move this offseason. It's just whether or not how desperate the Los Angeles Lakers actually get and whether or not they're going to buy out this LeBron James $52.6 million deal, which we know the rules on how to stretch a contract because we've broken it down so many times on this channel because the Heat have been involved in both athletes that have been bought out up to this point. Damian Lillard as well as Bradley Beal both speculated that they could land with Miami, and we know how it works. Milwaukee had to extend the deal. They have to double it and add 1 year. So there was 2 years left on Damian's deal. They had to double it, which is obviously 4, and then they had to add 1, so it's a 5-year deal. LeBron only has a 1-year deal remaining. So if they were to stretch it, it would be a 2-year deal because 1 plus 1, that'd be doubling it. And then they would have to add 1 more. So over a 3-year period, they would have to pay LeBron James $56.5 million, and they'd have to cover that contract. But there's a lot of speculation. I'm going to close out this video with this. Heat Culture on Twitter went on to post this, and they are not the only one. This tweet is flying around. This whole trade package is flying around social media like wildfire, covering the Miami Heat organization. And the Heat would receive LeBron and Bronny James, and then the LA Lakers would then receive Andrew Wiggins, Terry Rozier, and Jaime Jaquez Jr., as well as some draft compensation. I've plugged it in outside of the draft compensation on the NBA trade machine on ESPN. This trade does not work financially. Now, if there is a buyout involved, that is a totally different conversation. But this 3-asset for 2-player asset for Miami and the Los Angeles Lakers, as of right now, does not work on the books. And we also don't know if it's something the Lakers would be willing to do. Wiggins is a great piece, someone I could see them possibly acquiring in a trade. But then you have Jaquez, a younger piece that they could possibly be open to obtaining because he's a younger guy who can learn, really develop. He's shown some really high sides to his game up to this point in his career, only playing 3 seasons now. But then there's Terry Rozier. It's not going to work. Rozier is still under gambling investigation. New video on Heat Digest if you want to check it out, breaking down all of the new information that we know on that situation. But also, Rozier has no trade market. He had not only for the gambling investigation, but due to the lack of production we have seen over the last year and a half, it doesn't seem like this is even relatively possible due to the lack of goods going back to LA. Now, if LA would just bite the bait and do it, I would love that. But again, financially doesn't seem like it's possible due to the trade machine on ESPN.com, as well as just Terry Rozier not being moved because of the gambling just entire situation he's involved in as of right now that has been yet to be cleared. We'll break down the rest of any more information I can say surrounding LeBron James in the future on this channel, so be wary of any of that content. Make sure you go check it out. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Heat Digest, and I will see you guys on the next one.